share my story, how I kind of got involved with the Hilary Clinton campaign. And then right after sharing my story, I'm going to go into questions, and then I'll go back to talking about what I feel is important and kind of steps that we as a community should take post-election, which I think is extremely important, especially while it's still still a wound, at least I know it is for me. So with that being said, my story, the way that I kind of got into politics, the way that I guess you could say politics became important for me, actually goes back to elementary school. During elementary school, and the reason why I want to share this story is because I know that it's very relevant to a lot of people that are here. During elementary school, there were instances in which I struggled personally with identity. Now when I say this, I'm saying that I was born American, I'm an American citizen, but my parents, of course, are Libyan, right? So in school, I was always taught by my parents, I was always taught by other Muslims that I couldn't really be a part of these Thanksgiving events. I couldn't be a part of, let's say for example, Christmas. I couldn't take pictures, I couldn't do anything. So there was always this sense in my mind, and as well as with other people, that I was different, right? Now what we kind of look at is that differences are negative, but they're really not. So with it going, as I was growing up, what I kind of saw was that with me being different, I had to build off of it, and there was always some type of value with being different, right? The time in which I felt that I truly belonged was that in elementary school, my 6th grade year, we had a mock election. And that was the first time that I truly felt that I was actually American, or that I was actually a part of something bigger, right? Now, of course, then 9/11 happened, and that kind of went downhill, which I'm sure everybody felt during that time as well. But that was really the biggest thing that kind of made me feel like politics was the thing for me. Now, when it came down to politics, it wasn't just politics. Something that was extremely important to me and embedded into my heart and soul was service. And when I talk about service, I'm talking about community service, being a part of something. And I got that from my father because of everything that he was kind of doing within the community, which is something or a product of what we all kind of see here today. With that being said, I really don't have an answer for you all when it comes down to what is the best course of action for our community. And the reason I say that is because we really all do not know what's going to happen post-election. We're all just kind of sitting and waiting and really seeing how everything plays out. With that, we can kind of see trends. And with the trends in which the cabinet members that have been appointed, it's not looking that great for us. So what does that mean for us? What that means is that today, in this day and age, more important than ever, it is time for us to be more unapologetic than ever. Now what does that mean? We have to be unapologetically Muslim more than ever. Not because, not just out of spite, but because we truly have the right to be unapologetically Muslim. Now what does that mean? And when I believed in, when I realized that that is the case, I was actually having a discussion with one of my colleagues in the Hilary Clinton campaign, and he told me that as we kind of discussed religion, because that's what I do sometimes, he told me that he himself, or as people in general, they do not believe in Islam, but they believe in the people who make Islam what it is. So I'm going to re-say that. He does not believe in Islam. He believes in the people who make Islam what it is. What this means is is that they're not interested in having discussions of faith. And there are some people who do want to have discussions of spirituality. But what they're more interested in is the effort that's being put into what you stand for and what you believe in. That's the number one most important thing that I felt was extremely important when it came down to me being Muslim. But the number one thing that I really did, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I did for the past 3 months. For the past 3 months, I joined the Hilary Clinton campaign, and I was around and surrounded by some of the most amazing people that I have ever met in my life. Now, I grew up in a Muslim community, and you would think, all right, there's some pretty amazing people in the Muslim community. But these type of people are the type of people that have some of the most amazing drive. People who, you know, come from Harvard, come from Yale, come from all over the nation, New Hampshire, all with a different story. All of these people came to Ohio to be a part of something because they knew that the importance of electing a president that was an inclusive president, as well as a president who was there to try to empower people and their differences, right? And so I personally did not believe in Hilary Clinton, to be 100% honest with you. But being around those type of people empowered me, specifically because I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I went to Rice State University, right? In most cases, I would have never believed that I'd be around people who achieved so much. But this type of movement was so important to them because they recognized the rights that would be taken away from people like us, people from minorities, and recognized the movements essentially that they stood for and what was most important to them. So I'm going to kind of go over 3 different things, and the 3 different things that I'm going to kind of go over is the importance, number one, of civic engagement, which we've all kind of heard of. It is extremely important to be civically engaged. But I also want to kind of hit on the importance of social responsibility. And for those of you who don't know exactly what social responsibility is, it's ensuring and knowing that you have an obligation to act on the benefit of the community at large. Everyone here, whether it be because of Islam, or whether it be because of what we truly believe in, or just as humans, we all have a social responsibility to take care of one another, regardless of what it is. And this is something that Islam teaches us as well. And another thing, when we talk about post-election, people have consistently asked me, how can we fight for what we believe in? And how can we make a difference as Muslims? The number one thing that I've always told everyone is to understand that you have to have something that's called bargaining power. You have to bring something to the table. Before you can bring something to the table as a community, you have to also bring something to the table as an individual. And I understood that going into this. As individuals, we all have to go, whether you do it tonight, next week, whenever you can. I'm going to ask all of you to be very self-aware of yourselves. Go home and figure out what can you as an individual give to your community. Every single one of us have a gift. We all have a gift that we're able to give to this community. In order for me to be successful in whatever it is in organizing what I did, I had to be able to recognize my own gift and build off of it. So alhamdulillah, I'm sure that a lot of you have seen my Huffington Post article. I'm sure you guys saw me on YouTube. But the reality of it is that if you guys knew the backstory to all of these things, you guys probably wouldn't believe it because I was never chosen for any one of those things. The way that a lot of these things worked was, for example, me being able to introduce Hilary Clinton. I was not chosen to introduce her. I just so happened to be there, and my manager knew and could count on me to step up when someone else who was chosen stepped down. And so it was something that was extremely last minute. And they said, Mohammed, I need you to step up and just say something. And I did, and it worked out. That's the nature of being able to be successful in anything that you choose to do. With that, one thing that I truly and honestly recognize is that when we as individuals and when we as a community want to try to create change within, I guess you could say, our greater Dayton community, we have to understand that change happens with political pressure. For example, we have people that are like Kaepernick. For those of you who don't know Colin Kaepernick, he's the person who kind of took the knee during the national anthem when he wanted to make or show hashtag Black Lives Matter. And so people like Kaepernick keep things relevant, keep issues relevant. And so we as Muslims, if there are issues that we want to kind of fight for, we have to be able to find a way how to keep these issues relevant, where we can create political pressure and utilize our bargaining power to create change. And the only way that we're able to do that is if we're able to organize. And the reality of it is, we as Muslims, we are some of the most diverse, we are the most diverse faith group in America. With that being said, there's a lot of bargaining power that we personally, as a religion, as a community, have. The problem is that we are not outnumbered, we're out-organized. It's extremely hard for us to come together. Some of that is because we're extremely diverse. We agree on what it is we want to get done, but we disagree on how we should do it. The what should never be more valuable. No, the how should never be more valuable than the what, right? And with that being said, I want to ensure that the biggest things that I will say when it comes down to politics is that politics is all about consequences. What group or what community will hold our politicians accountable? And that's how you will be able to create change, is if you are able to hold them accountable. So what I want to do is that I want to kind of tailor my answers and what I say towards a lot of the questions that we may have as a community. So I actually want to open it up to the community to see if I'd be able to maybe give some insight as to what would be best for our community to move forward. Do we have any questions? Oh, you have it on the mic.